Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the CampaignHer Podcast. I'm your host and medicinal herb healing spinster, the village elders believe to be a witch, Pippin. Today's after-school special is all about the dangers of cliques and peer pressure. Well, not entirely, but also kind of yes. We're talking today about fitting in and how far we'll go to blend into our surroundings. Specifically, how far I went as a child in 2nd grade. Y'all, I love telling this story. It's haunted me for most of my days because it's embarrassing, and kept me awake at night as an adult because as an adult, I realized just how embarrassing it is. But as a kid, I thought I was the frickin' bee's knees. And then even later in this episode, after that magnificent story that I just teed up, we're going to talk with a real and current 2nd grader. But before all of that, I thought I'd kick this episode off by reminding you all that fitting in is something most of us struggle with even as adults. And by most of us, I mean me. Hello. I feel like I am constantly struggling to fit in because I am both extremely self-conscious and extremely self-centered. Shout out to my high school ex who said that to me over a decade ago, and it has now been a constant worry and hot topic in my mind and in therapy since then. Thank you. Being self-centered and self-conscious means I want everyone to like me and think that I'm cool. But I also believe that I don't like me or think that I'm cool. And this dichotomy forces about 99% of my behavior to be just camouflaging to the behavior of those people around me and to be constantly analyzing any situation, any social situation, any new social situation explicitly that I'm in by like reading and rereading the room, like that meme of the woman with like the math equations all around her head, and she's like looking, to her side, and she's like, you see the cogs in her brain just turning, the one. So I do all that, and then I like Frankenstein people's behaviors with my own behaviors so that I'm not completely myself and also not being a big fat phony. Like I think of it as like a knob, right? So that I have like a dial or a knob that I can turn up to be even more myself once I've trusted these people and feel like they think I'm cool, or I can like play back even farther down, right? If people don't like me, and then I can just survive until I get out of there. So this is very intense. And what does it look like? Well, it looks something like this. My neighbor invited me over to play Bunko with her a few weeks ago with her friends from church. Now, like dials, I consider religion to be a bit of a spectrum too, personally. Like I think that I lie somewhere between communion and crystal healing. Like I believe in God, but I also believe in taking your shoes off and walking in the grass barefoot to connect back with Mother Earth. So being in an environment of very spiritual people meant like my invisibility shield instantly went up, like partition, guillotine, that like split second just rise, right? And so after a few bottles of wine with these ladies that I was already like feeling like I had to mask my true outrageous self with, we started playing Never Had I Ever. Never Have I Ever? Never Had I Ever? Never Have I Ever. Listen, if I was playing this with a group of my girlfriends that I've known since high school, I'd go for the jugular. I'd be asking about butt stuff as like an easy question. But these were the Lord's ladies. Okay, so like I started sweating as soon as each girl like went around the table and said their innocent little cues like, I've never been fired. Have you ever kissed somebody on the first date? There were some that were a little bit more intense than that, but you get the picture. And as soon as it got to me, I was like, one, just drenched in sweat and completely unable to come up with a PG or PG-13 Never Had I Ever to share. So my turn came, I panicked, and I said, never have I ever picked my nose. And they all looked at me like I was crazy. Listen, listeners, everyone picks their nose. Everyone. I pick my nose. Me. Sometimes you gotta go where everybody knows your name, and by that I mean you gotta go some places and itch some scratches Kleenex can't scratch. So these ladies looked at me like I was crazy because they knew this information. They knew that everybody picked their nose. Their mother gave them a book that said everybody picks their nose when I was too busy getting everybody poops, right? And they knew that I knew this information. They knew that I knew that everyone picks their nose. But here we are at a standoff. And I couldn't go back and say, hey, I was so nervous at Bunko the other night because when I play this game, transcripts of this conversation need to be studied by a team of clinical psychologists. So I said, pick your nose. No, I lied and I said I never picked my nose, like an idiot, like a liar, like a dirty liar. And you know that like Jesus spoke to those women in their sleep, because I have not been invited back. But one of the women at the table was like, seriously? Like, she called me out on my bullshit. She's like, seriously, you've never picked your nose? Everyone picks their nose. And I was like, no, nose picking virgin over here. Hallelujah. And remember, one of these ladies is my neighbor. So I'm expected to live in vicinity of this woman and lie until I move or she moves or one or both of us dies. Because I know that she hasn't been thinking about this as much as I have. So I just can't casually walk up months later and say, hey, I was just kidding before. I totally picked my nose. But because, like I said, I haven't been picked, or haven't been invited back. So maybe they don't want a dirty nose picking liar at their Bunko night. So on that note, learn from me. Fitting in is shit. And we should all just be as authentic as possible. We'll talk more about this right after this. When I got this idea for this podcast, the first thing I had to accept was that I had zero idea what I was doing. And I wanted nothing more than to have someone just take this stuff that I'm thinking right out of my head and put it in your ears for you to listen to. And that's why I am so happy the Google Fairies led me to Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it is really the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. 1, it's free. Number 2, it's free. Number 3, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. I have it on my iPad. Anchor then will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many, many more. And you get to make money from your podcast with absolutely no minimum listenership. It's really everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So, hey, if you're like me, you're ready to get into this sweet pod game, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. The hard topic that we are confronting today, if you haven't guessed already, is about fitting in and the ways in which we camouflage ourselves to be a part of the crowd. And there's no better way, I think, to talk about this than to talk about the things that we cared about when we were children. And specifically, I'm going to talk to you today about my childhood obsession with Tamagotchis. Here we go. If you were a human child alive between 1996 and 1999, you were probably obsessed with Tamagotchis or, a Tamagotchi adjacent creation. When I first started with this podcast, I was operating under the assumption that everyone knew what a Tamagotchi was. But then someone asked me what Y2K was, a question that aged me 100 years approximately. And now I feel like I can't take any chances. So Tamagotchis were tiny, palm-sized computer pets. They required food approximately every 3 seconds. And regardless of how much or how often you fed them, they always shat themselves to death and died at the helpless young age of 6 years old. They were tiny. They were plastic. They were shaped like an egg. They had a screen that was about 1/4 of an inch across in a square. It hung on this stupid little keychain that were like the ball and chain keychains, that would break and you drop it and you lose this $60 toy off your backpack if somebody hit it too hard on the bus. It was a miracle. These Tamagotchis were amazing. Life controlled by the beep of tiny buttons. A pet computer that fit in the palm of your hand. Now, this is the time when people had car phones. So the size of these beauties was like nothing short of divine. And these little digital pets were everywhere. They were hotter than... Beanie Babies. They were hotter than... who was hot at that time? Greg Kinnear. Tamagotchis were hotter than goddamn Greg Kinnear. They were nominated for Oscars. They were graduating cum laude from Ivy League universities. Adults wore them on their belts with their beepers. It was a wild time. The Tamagotchi craze was so out of control in my neck of the woods that I have distinct memories of going to Vacation Bible School, aka Day Camp for Jesus, where my children's ministry pastors passed the giant tithes and offering trays, the big brass goldish trays down the aisles of children to collect everyone's Tamagotchis. so that we wouldn't spend more time caring for our tiny digital blob creatures instead of getting tight with our Lord and Savior Jesus H. Christ. It seemed everyone had Tamagotchis or Gigapets or Nanopets. Everyone, except me. I was the only person in my second grade class to not have a Tamagotchi or Tamagotchi equivalent. As a parent now of 2 small children, I totally get it. I understand when my parents never bought me, a virtual pet. Those little things, like, they beeped constantly. They were annoying. I could lose them so easily. Like, I would never buy my kids one in a million years because I don't need more mysterious beeping noises in my house. But as an 8-year-old child, seeing literally every other kid I knew huddled around the playground, comparing their digital miracles, made me horribly sad. It made me desperate to fit in. It was the first of many, many, many moments in my life of unpopularity just blaring like a kazoo in my memory, okay? Initially, without a Tamagotchi in my hand, I tried to play it cool. I did. I tried to convince my friends that I didn't even care that I didn't have a virtual pet to beep boop my love to. But as the weeks passed and Tamagotchis transformed from mere things to a way of life, not caring was not an option for me anymore. Hopeless, miserable, eager to blend in, and armed with the knowledge that kids are idiots and their tiny idiot brains will believe anything me, a genius, will say to them because I am so smart, I started telling the kids at my school about my super exclusive, one-of-a-kind, never-before-seen virtual pet. I spun tales of a pixelated creature that loved me so much I didn't have to take it to school because it wouldn't dare shit itself to death. It was too busy waiting for me at home like a sailor's wife watching the horizon for lost ships. The longer I went without a Tamagotchi, the more advanced and complex my imaginary digital pet stories became until kids were frothing at the mouth, begging to see this virtual pet to beat all other virtual pets. Just talking about my virtual pet at this point no longer satisfied the children of my world. I had to show it to them. They had to see it. They had to put their dreams to reality. I needed to bring it into school. No questions asked. The night before, I was like sweating with the anxiety-riddled thought of the kids at school having a Tamagotchi moment. When they learned I was a fraud, I found something much better in my toy bin. A pink and yellow stopwatch. It was perfect. It would be my digital pet. Now let me be like crystal clear here. This was not like a Game Boy that also had a stopwatch on it. This wasn't a regular jelly clear, chunky digital watch that everyone had at that time that happened to have a stopwatch feature. This was a fucking stopwatch. The kind gym teachers wear around their necks, okay? The kind with only 3 features. To start a timer, to pause a timer, and to reset the timer. A stopwatch. A stopwatch. A stopwatch. Now let's rewind a little bit here, because I want to paint you a picture of the version of Allie that was walking in to her elementary school with a fucking stopwatch around her neck, okay? In 2nd grade, in all areas of my life that didn't involve the desire to raise a virtual pet that was incapable of loving me back, I was anything but a chameleon. I invited everyone over to my birthday party with the promise of listening to a Jock Jam CD. My favorite outfit at the time was a pair of black corduroy Tweety Bird overalls with a silky purple geometric pattern Tweety Bird shirt. And I'm going to upload a picture of that onto Instagram. So follow us on @theCampaignHer to see that beautiful image. What else? Let's see. I had an eye patch for 6 months. And not like a sexy eye patch that like cool pirates wear. Like I had a piece of medical gauze that was medically taped around my head because I couldn't see out of my eye because I had injured it with hot sauce. Another story for a different time. I forced crowds on the playground to listen to me sing Spice Girls where I was Posh Spice. Me! with a Tweety on Tweety ensemble, with a motherfucking eye patch. Me! I was not shy. I was not timid. I was loud and unapologetic, energetic and bright. I mean, at one point in second grade, I begged my mother for and later owned a blue latex vest. Camouflage was not an option for me. I couldn't blend in if I tried. Yet here I was, strutting into school with a goddamn stopwatch around my neck because I couldn't go another day not being like everyone else. Did I flounder? Did the idiot kids learn that I, in fact, have nothing more than an exercise time counter around my thick neck? Nah, bitch, I passed that shit off. Kids ogled over me. I was their god. I had fooled them all. I had lied and suffered zero consequences. Well, I was certainly at least a god among men with the children of my age. I remember reading the squinted glances of teachers as I proudly walked about school with the world's most exclusive digital pet, stopwatch, around my neck. And I'm certain those adults at least made a wellness call home to my parents, but at most probably wrote letters to the Pope about me, exorcise this girl's demons. Wellness check 101, right? At one point, my teacher, my second grade teacher, Miss Caliendo, told me she liked my stopwatch. And I immediately started sweating and my bowels clenched with the anticipation of diarrhea. And I just spat back, it's a virtual pet, before writing in my composition notebook all about how amazing my virtual pet was. I put it on the paper and I traced its supple shape, of my stopwatch on my thick ruled paper. The fear of being found out for pretending to be someone, a virtual pet queen, I was not, literally ate at my insides. I felt like I had to keep up this charade for the rest of my life. Certainly, I would either bury my stopwatch in a virtual pet cemetery or someone would eventually find out I was lying. And there was no in between. And honestly, I don't know what scared me more. I was in way too deep. I lived out my virtual pet fantasy turned nightmare until the next latest and greatest thing took over the minds and hearts of my elementary school, which I think was Pokemon. Here's looking at you, Pokemon. You did this girl a salad. But it was a long year to walk with a Tamagotchi around my neck. And by Tamagotchi, I mean stopwatch. 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 The Tamagotchis taught me a very, very valuable lesson at a young age. Be who everyone wants you to be, and you will get all the envy and attention you want. Conform. Be a chameleon. Blend into the world around you, and things will always go your way. You won't feel empty or sad. You'll feel loved. People will want to be you. That is until they don't. Okay? Until the feelings of fraud overcome you. Sure, you'll stand like a chameleon on a lily pad surrounded by frogs, but, blending in really well and eating the same flies for a while. But you'll know you don't belong there. You know that's not where you're supposed to be. Here's the fun thing about camouflage, guys. Camouflage isn't just a charming little quirk of the chameleon, okay? It is a defense tactic. A chameleon will literally change the color of its skin to avoid being murdered. It's the same for us too, in many ways. Some of them murder, yes, but being like everyone else makes it harder for people to see our flaws. It makes it easier for us to not be ourselves. It makes it more difficult for people to abuse us or harass us or make us feel stupid or small. And while I hate to admit it, I am still a chameleon queen long after my wild and reckless Tamagotchi life. How do I mean? Well, I can walk into a conference room at work and immediately read the tone and know that this is a space where I have the freedom to be bold and brave and loud, or if it's a space where maybe I should just write my thoughts down. I can read the moment on a work partner's face when they disagree with me, and then I immediately camouflage and backpedal, so quickly to a solution that I think will please them, even if that solution will sacrifice hours of work or my weekends or the capacity of my team. Some camouflage, though, isn't that obvious. It's hidden in the way that we as women pose our ideas as questions to a larger group. how do we think it would work if we did this? Instead of just saying, we should do this. Damn it. And then pound your fist like you're in charge. Okay, what about this? How about all the ways that we mask in our emails, what we really want to say? Like saying something like, per my last email, instead of just saying, bitch, can you read? Like we all want to. It's problematic and it's business. And it's time for all of us to accept that it is okay to camouflage, to survive from time to time, okay? But look really, really closely at the shades we're wearing. Are we wearing what we're doing, what we're wearing? Are we doing what we're doing to protect ourselves or to be who everyone wants us to be? Are you wearing that shade because it looks good on you or because you think everyone else wants you to wear it? Girlfriend, is that a Tamagotchi in your hand or a motherfucking stopwatch? Faking it till you make it can be a powerful motivator. But spoiler alert, eventually you have to make it. And if you can't make it, if the thing you're faking is never going to happen, will the lies you're telling yourself and everyone else be worth the weight of the burden? The easy answer is no. No, it's not. I have worn the stopwatch so that you don't have to. Now it's the time for all of us to shake off those virtual pets and start shining like the stars that we know we are. Stop being a chameleon. If someone doesn't see you for the uniquely bright, shining soul that you are, you don't need to camouflage. You need to find a new leaf. We will be right back with an amazing guest star. I'm so excited to have her on the show, talking more about all the different ways that we chameleon right after this. So the need to fit in is definitely instilled in us from a very young age, 2nd grade for me specifically. So I wanted to get and give you guys a fresh perspective from somebody who is living this age right now as we speak, my daughter, Maisie. Maisie, welcome to the Campaign Her Podcast. I'm so excited to have you here in my bedroom, sitting right next to me. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us how old you are, what grade you're going into, and if you were a vegetable, what vegetable would you be?
I am 7 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and this year I'm going to 2nd grade.
Exciting.
And if I were a vegetable, I would be a carrot because it helps you see.
And you do have eagle eyes.
Yes.
We have, always called Maisie Eagle Eyes because she can see things even we can't see.
I saw, one time we were in the car and I saw something
300 miles away.
Yeah.
300 miles away. You've seen a ghost once before. Did you know that?
Huh?
Yeah, you've seen a ghost. When Aunt Nenny was looking to buy her house, we took you into this house and it was like an old spooky house. And you were a little baby and you just kept waving at somebody that wasn't there.
Oh my God.
And so Nenny and I were like, ghost in this house, and we got you out of there. Well, Maisie, today on the podcast, we talked a lot about fitting in. And I told a story about how I didn't have a Tamagotchi as a kid. So I pretended, I lied, and said that I had a Tamagotchi when it wasn't one. It was actually a stopwatch. You know what a stopwatch is?
No.
Like what your gym teacher wears around her neck? Yeah, I went to school with a stopwatch around my neck because I didn't have a Tamagotchi. So my first question to you is, do you know what a Tamagotchi is?
Yes.
What's a Tamagotchi?
It's kind of the size of an iPod, and I think I never had one before, and it has little characters on it, and you do stuff to it.
Yeah, and they poop themselves to death. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But there's actually now on the App Store you can buy it, but it's free.
Not sponsored.
No, yeah, it's not sponsored right now. But you can get it, and I have it, and she literally poops to death.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Her face is red.
It's not fun, but I wanted one so bad.
Yeah, I think we got one for you, but you gave it away.
No.
You still have it?
No, you didn't give me a Tamagotchi. She's looking at me like I'm crazy. We're going to have to go through our garage. That throws my whole story out the window. Anyway, okay, so like I said, we're talking a lot about fitting in, and you're going into second grade.
Yes.
So think to yourself, has there been anything that the kids at school really like that you feel like you're supposed to like, but you don't?
There's like this game that I don't have. It's called oh my god, it's called Fortnite, and I don't even know what that is.
No?
But I do know the dances.
Oh, so you learned all the dances. Do you pretend? Have you ever, like, pretend that you like Fortnite, even though you've never played it?
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I have Fortnite pajamas, and I play it every night, every midnight, and like that. But
yeah, you said that?
Yeah, but it's not
Why do you think you pretend to say that? Why do you think we pretend to like those things, even if we have never done them before?
I don't know. But my daddy has it, but I never even asked to play it.
Yeah.
Because I saw it on the App Store, and it's like guns and stuff. So I was like, no, thank you.
Does it like make you feel good when you talk about Fortnite and like other people can relate to you? Like, does it feel like you're part of like the group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends in my school, so every night before I go to bed, I say, I'm popular, I'm popular, I'm popular.
And then you feel like you're part of the group. You are popular.
Yeah.
You're adorable. Everyone loves you. Especially me.
I have a bunch of clothes that I wear to school.
I hope you wear clothes to school.
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay, good.
And the type of clothes that I wear, it just stands out. It does bright colors.
It's true. And you have to wear uniforms too, so that's hard. Yeah. That's hard to stand out when you're just wearing uniforms.
I really like my this teal shirt, polo shirt. It has little ruffles on it, so I wear it like probably almost every day. I beg my dad to wash it so I can wear it every day, because everybody when they see me wear it, they're just stunned. Yeah,
they're just stunned. They're like, work it, girl. Yeah. Sashay away, right? Yeah. Sashay shante. So why do we think that, like, I mean, I know that, like, when I lied about my Tamagotchi, okay, when I lied that I had one and I really just had a stopwatch, like, doing that made me, like, feel good, right? Is that, like, how you feel when you talk about Fortnite, that it, like, makes you feel like you're part of the group, that you're popular, that everyone loves you, everyone wants to be you?
Yeah.
Have you ever, like, told a lie about doing something that you haven't done just to make people like you?
Yeah, they also said, can you do a jump split all the way? But I can't do it all the way.
No, but you can do it part of the way?
Yeah.
What is it, a jump split?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, please don't try to do that. I don't want to take you to the ER today.
I've done it a couple of times.
You've done it a couple.
I haven't broke my leg or anything.
Okay, well, I don't want that to be today on air. So, have you ever felt like, or have you ever had a moment where you felt like you didn't fit in? Do you want to tell me about it?
Hard to fit in.
Where you felt like you didn't fit in?
No. I always fit.
What makes you so confident?
Just, I never give up. As a Girl Scout myself, I never have to give up, because one of the rules in Girl Scout, have fun and don't give up on what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I know it's complicated about trying to fit in, but that doesn't mean that you have to stop.
Yeah. So what do you do if you're, like, hanging out with people and you don't feel like you belong with them? Do you pretend to be like them to just make them like you, or do you say, later, Gator?
Usually,
I stumped you.
Yeah. Well, I don't really say later, Gator, but I usually say bye. I'm going to go hang out with my other friends that are really my friends that know me.
Yeah.
So I go there, and then we talk about other stuff. My friends have a group that we pretend. It's called the girls group. Mm-hmm. And my friend Kinsey, Camilla, and Gianna and me.
Shout out to you girls. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We have our little girl stuff.
Okay.
It's usually close to the 5th grader place where they do their stuff, and it's also close to the pre-K, because there's this boy.
Seems like just carved out your own little corner of the playground. You just rule the school.
And there's like a boy in pre-K, and he calls me weird names. Like one time.
Like what?
Like the last time
What's this boy say? What does he call you?
No, it was silly. It's not like
okay. Like
he's
what?
Not calling me.
You tell me.
He was like mustard.
Mustard. Mustard.
That's weird.
Means you're like sassy. You know, you're like a little tangy. He looks at you and he's like, you're not ketchup, you're mustard.
He said bike. Probably because I'm rolling around.
Because you're always rolling, yes. Well, I'll be real. Like, I have times where I feel like I don't fit in. Like, I know it happens to kids, and it happens to adults, too. Like, I'm just trying to keep it real, you know, and I feel like, you know, the most important thing that my parents always told me, and that I hope that we have told you and your sister, is that everybody feels that way sometimes, right? But it's really brave to stay true to yourself, and, you know, it's not your problem that somebody may not like you for you and may want you to be a certain way. You know, that's their problem. And, you know, like I said, it's really just brave to stay true to you and be yourself and be this sassy, vibrant, crazy, cool kid that I know you are. And I'm really proud of you because it takes courage to do that. That's something that I, even as a grown-up, struggle with. I try to feel like I have to be a certain way so that people will like me, or so that people will give me opportunities, people will be my friend. So I can learn a lot from you because you're so brave. What do you think it means to be brave? What does that mean to you?
Being brave, it just means a lot.
Does it mean that you're strong and you're...
Yeah, and confident.
And confident. And what makes you feel brave and confident and strong? Besides your super cool teal green ruffle shirt.
The other thing that makes me feel strong is...
You don't know? What about a bow? You always got a bow in your hair?
Yeah, there's this bow. It's pineapple.
Yeah.
It used to have like a pineapple scent on it, but then our dog chewed it up somehow.
Dipper.
But the door was closed.
Okay, well maybe it was that ghost that you met at Nanny's house that followed you.
Well, this bow I wear without the scent thing just makes me confident and stuff, because I've never been to Hawaii,
but you like pineapples.
Yeah.
I also think that you are really confident when you do dance. Like, you dancing are, you know, you always don't go dance right now. They won't be able to hear you. You're so confident. You get on stage and it just brings me so much light. And I'm so proud of you when you're up there dancing. It's really amazing to see.
Also, right now I'm really good at tap, jazz, maybe a little hip hop.
Yeah. So all these things that make you feel brave and confident, what advice would you give to moms like me, people like me, or girls like you who maybe don't feel like they fit in? What advice would you give them?
My advice would be, if there's anything complicated, just try to keep doing it and don't give up.
Awesome. Well, I like to close out all of our interviews with a little game where I rapid fire ask you questions and you have to answer them as quickly as you can. Okay, are you ready?
I'm
Do you want
good
to play?
at talking fast, I think.
You are. Are you ready? Do you want to play?
Yeah.
Okay. And here we go. If you had a pet unicorn, what would you name it?
Sparkle.
What's the grossest thing you've ever eaten?
My burgers.
Your boogers? Make your best animal sound for me. Go. What cartoon character are you?
Mabel.
Mabel from
Gravity
Falls. What? Or how do you spell anti-disestablishmentarianism?
I have no clue.
Okay. Have you ever kissed a boy?
No.
She's lying.
Except for my dad.
You never kiss a boy?
No.
A boy never kiss you?
No.
Do you ever do anything wrong and blame it on your sister?
No.
You're such a liar. Have you ever blamed your farts on the dog?
Yes.
Have you?
And my sister and you and my dad.
If you could be any celebrity for a day, who would you be?
Jojo Siwa.
Why? Why?
Because her balls are singing, and her house is amazing, and Bobo is adorable.
Adorable.
I don't know what that means.
What's one thing your mom never lets you do?
Have a hoverboard.
I will never let you have a hoverboard. I stand by that. I stand by it. That'll be your Tamagotchi. One day you'll be on your own top podcast talking about how your mom never bought you a hoverboard and how you had to take a piece of plywood to school with an orange underneath it and pretend that you had one. Okay. It'll give you character. How much do you think I weigh?
60 pounds?
Oh my God, I love you. If you had to dip something in mayonnaise, would you eat it?
No. I hate mayonnaise.
All right, on that note, Maisie, thank you so much for being a part of our conversation. Thank you for being so brave and awesome and cool. I love you so much. Now go to bed.
What?
We'll be right back. Guys, we had some fun today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to the child I created, Maisie, for your adorable perspective on our topic of fitting in today. I hope that all of you ladies are leaving this podcast. Ladies and gents, I'm not exclusive. I hope you're leaving this podcast and you're encouraged to find your thing. Find that thing that helps you just be yourself unapologetically and loudly, and that thing that just helps you fuck camouflage in real life. I would greatly appreciate it if you conformed this one more time and just reviewed and subscribed this Campaign Her podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and recommend it to a friend. Let somebody else know that you're not the only ones having these crazy ass life situations, if only for my sake. If you need more Campaign Her and you can't wait till next Thursday, don't forget to visit our blog at campaignher.com for more stories. And if you need advice or you're ready to share your own hard, hilarious stories to potentially be read anonymously on a future episode, you can submit them in email to hello@campaignher.com. And at the worst case, we read them. Best case, we read them. You're going to get an email back from me regardless. It's just hey, I hear you. You're not alone in this. You can continue to support this podcast with sticker purchases available on Etsy. And now, when you purchase 2 or more stickers, we'll give you 1 for free. Just use coupon code PODCAST at checkout on Etsy. You can follow along and see pictures from this episode on Instagram at @TheCampaignHer. Or if you want to follow along with me and all of my crazy life, you can follow me on Instagram at @AllieJeanPippin. New episodes drop every Thursday. Until then, you're doing great, sweetie. Bye.